Have you ever looked into a stranger's eyes and felt as if you had known them forever? Or visited a place for the first time, only to be overcome with the eerie certainty that you had walked those streets before? These experiences, often dismissed as coincidence or déjà vu, may in fact be whispers from something far deeper, memories of another life. Across cultures and centuries, tales abound, children recalling past identities, warriors reborn with the scars of battles long forgotten, and seekers who suddenly awaken to visions of another era. While many brush these accounts aside as fantasy, the persistence of such stories suggests a hidden truth. Some souls carry memory across lifetimes, while others enter each new existence as a blank slate. But why? Is it a cosmic choice? A matter of spiritual maturity? Or a deliberate veil drawn by the soul for its own protection? Ancient sages spoke of the river of forgetfulness that souls must cross before entering the physical world, a river that washes away memory so that each incarnation can be lived afresh. Yet mystics also taught that some spirits slip through with fragments intact, carrying hidden knowledge, talents, and burdens into the present. In this exploration, we will journey into the mystery of why certain souls remember. We'll look to the wisdom of ancient traditions, from Eastern philosophies to Hermetic teachings. We'll examine the esoteric mechanics of memory, how it might transcend the brain and live in the subtle layers of consciousness. And most importantly, we will uncover what it means for you, how past life memory can guide your growth, and how you can open yourself to the hidden chapters of your soul's story. Because perhaps the question is not if you have lived before, but whether you are ready to remember. The idea of past lives is not a modern invention, nor is it confined to a single culture. It is one of humanity's most persistent mysteries, an invisible thread running through religions, philosophies, and mystical traditions across the world. To understand why some souls remember their past incarnations while others do not, we must first look at the tapestry of history, where these ideas were first woven. In ancient India, the doctrine of reincarnation was a cornerstone of spiritual thought. The Upanishads spoke of the soul, the Atman, moving through countless lifetimes on its journey toward liberation. Memory, they said, was obscured by the veil of Maya, the illusion of worldly existence. Yet certain yogis, through deep meditation, claimed to pierce this veil and recall lifetimes beyond count. The Buddha himself, according to the Pali Canon, experienced hundreds of past lives on the night of his enlightenment, each one unfolding before his inner vision like chapters in a vast cosmic book. The Greeks, too, pondered this enigma. Pythagoras, the mystic philosopher, taught the doctrine of transmigration of souls, insisting he could remember his own previous lives, including one as a warrior of Troy. Plato described a mythic scene in the Republic. Before rebirth, souls drank from the river Lethe, the river of forgetfulness. But a few who drank sparingly carried fragments of memory into the world. For him, learning was not discovery, but anamnesis, a remembering of truths the soul had always known. In ancient Egypt, the soul's journey through the afterlife was detailed in the Book of the Dead. Here, memory was tied to spiritual judgment. To be reborn, the heart was weighed against the feather of Ma'at. Though less direct about reincarnation, the Egyptian mysteries hinted that the soul's experiences across time left impressions, traces that shaped destiny. The Hermetic tradition, later blossoming in Alexandria, taught that the soul descends into the physical world wrapped in layers of forgetfulness, but initiates could awaken past life memory through sacred practice. To the Hermetists, forgetting was not punishment, but necessity, a way to allow each life to be lived with fresh eyes, unburdened by the weight of infinite memory. Even early Christianity, though later suppressing such ideas, held whispers of reincarnation. Certain Gnostic sects believed the soul returned until it achieved spiritual perfection, while Origen, an early church father, speculated about pre-existence of souls. Though these ideas were branded heretical, they never truly died. They continued to resurface in esoteric Christianity and mystic sects throughout the centuries. What unites these traditions is the recognition of a paradox. The soul forgets, yet sometimes remembers. Forgetting allows us to immerse fully in the human experience, but remembering hints at a deeper continuity of existence. It is as if the soul is both actor and audience in the great theater of life, sometimes lost in the play, sometimes suddenly aware of the script stretching across many acts. Thus, the question remains, if all souls journey through many lifetimes, why are some permitted glimpses into their past, while others are not? Is it random chance? Or is there a hidden law governing remembrance? The sages suggest that memory is not merely an accident of the mind, but an initiation, a sign of spiritual ripening, or a task the soul has chosen to confront. In the next part, we will peel back the layers of this mystery and explore the core explanation, the metaphysical mechanics of memory itself, and why only some souls are destined to recall.
To understand why some souls remember their past lives while others do not, we must first look at the very nature of memory itself. What is memory really? Most of us think of it as something stored in the brain, a fragile collection of electrical patterns and chemical imprints. Yet mystics, seers, and modern metaphysicians suggest that memory extends far beyond the physical mind. The brain, they say, is not the container of memory, but the receiver of it, like a radio tuned into a signal that exists in a higher dimension. From this perspective, the memories of past lives do not disappear when we are born. They remain encoded in the subtle layers of the soul, in fields of consciousness that some traditions call the Akashic records. These records are like a cosmic library where every thought, word, and action of every being is inscribed. To remember a past life, then, is not to retrieve a file from the brain, but to access a resonance, a vibration of the soul that still lingers in the vast archive of existence. But here lies the mystery. Why are only some able to access it? Imagine life as a theater. Each incarnation is like stepping onto a new stage, putting on a new costume and playing a new role. For most actors, the curtain falls and they forget the roles they once played. Otherwise, the drama could not be lived with full intensity. Yet sometimes, for reasons hidden in the script of the cosmos, the curtain lifts just slightly, and the actor glimpses their former parts. There are several reasons this might occur. 1. The law of spiritual ripening. The sages taught that souls ripen like fruit. A green fruit cannot reveal its sweetness. Only with time and exposure to light does it become ready. In the same way, immature souls are protected by forgetfulness. They must focus on the immediate lessons of this life without being distracted by 1,000 unfinished stories. But for souls who have reached a certain maturity, remembrance begins. They are ready to integrate past and present into a unified whole. This is why children who speak vividly of past lives are often old souls returning to complete unfinished work or to teach others through their unusual awareness. The second reason is the imprint of strong experience. Not all lifetimes leave the same weight upon the soul. Just to understand why some souls remember their past lives while others do not, we must first look at the very nature of memory itself. What is memory, really? Most of us think of it as something stored in the brain, a fragile collection of electrical patterns and chemical imprints. Yet mystics, seers, and modern metaphysicians suggest that memory extends far beyond the physical mind. The brain, they say, is not the container of memory, but the receiver of it, like a radio tuned into a signal that exists in a higher dimension. From this perspective, the memories of past lives do not disappear when we are born. They remain encoded in the subtle layers of the soul, in fields of consciousness that some traditions call the Akashic records. These records are like a cosmic library where every thought, word, and action of every being is inscribed. To remember a past life, then, is not to retrieve a file from the brain, but to access a resonance, a vibration of the soul that still lingers in the vast archive of existence. But here lies the mystery. Why are only some able to access it? Imagine life as a theater. Each incarnation is like stepping onto a new stage, putting on a new costume, and playing a new role. For most actors, the curtain falls, and they forget the roles they once played. Otherwise, the drama could not be lived with full intensity. Yet sometimes, for reasons hidden in the script of the cosmos, the curtain lifts just slightly, and the actor glimpses their former parts. There are several reasons this might occur. 1. The law of spiritual ripening. The sages taught that souls ripen like fruit. A green fruit cannot reveal its sweetness. Only with time and exposure to light does it become ready. In the same way, immature souls are protected by forgetfulness. They must focus on the immediate lessons of this life without being distracted by 1,000 unfinished stories. But for souls who have reached a certain maturity, remembrance begins. They are ready to integrate past and present into a unified whole. This is why children who speak vividly of past lives are often old souls returning to complete unfinished work, or to teach others through their unusual awareness. 2. The imprint of strong experience. Not all lifetimes leave the same weight upon the soul. Just as a deep wound leaves a scar, certain experiences, whether of great love, great suffering, or great accomplishment, can etch themselves so deeply into the subtle body that they echo into the next incarnation. This is why a child may instinctively play the piano as if their fingers already remember, or why one might carry inexplicable fears, such as a terror of water that stems from a forgotten drowning. These are not random quirks, but memories bleeding through the veil. 3. The soul's chosen mission. Sometimes memory returns because it is needed for the soul's task. Consider the mystics, prophets, and healers of history, those who seem to awaken with wisdom far beyond their years. Their remembrance was not an accident, but a tool for their purpose. To guide humanity, they had to recall knowledge carried over from lifetimes of study and devotion. In this sense, memory is not just a curiosity, but a calling. 4. The thinness of the veil. The veil of forgetfulness is not uniform. For some souls it is dense and opaque, for others thin and translucent. Why? Many esoteric traditions claim it depends on the soul's vibration. Those who live in alignment with higher truths, through meditation, purity of intent, or deep devotion, naturally weaken the veil. They begin to sense continuity beyond the present life, experiencing flashes of remembrance in dreams, déjà vu, or mystical visions. To better understand, let us use an analogy. Imagine the soul as a traveler, carrying a suitcase filled with the experiences of many journeys. Each time it boards a new train, the train of a new incarnation, it is required to check the suitcase into a locked compartment. Most travelers forget the suitcase exists, but some, through determination, accident, or privilege, manage to peek inside. What they see are the clothes of other lands, the souvenirs of past adventures, the scars of battles once fought. This recognition changes the way they travel in the present. It is also important to note that remembering is not always easy or glamorous. Some people long to know their past lives, imagining themselves as kings, queens, or sages. Yet remembrance can bring the weight of sorrow. Memories of betrayals, failures, or deaths repeated times without number. In fact, this is why the veil exists, to protect the fragile human psyche from being crushed beneath the immensity of eternity. The child who recalls dying in war may struggle with nightmares. The adult who recognizes a soulmate from a tragic past life may feel overwhelmed by inexplicable emotions. Memory is a gift, but it is also a burden, and only those strong enough are entrusted with it. From the Buddhist point of view, past life memory is tied to karma. Each soul is bound by the threads of cause and effect, weaving lifetimes together in an endless cycle of rebirth. Karma acts like an invisible ledger, and sometimes, when the weight of karma is particularly strong, the soul is unable to forget. It remembers the debts it must repay or the vows it must fulfill, and so it awakens with the knowledge that it has been here before. Thus, the first part of our core explanation reveals a simple yet profound truth. Remembrance is neither random nor universal. It emerges from the ripening of the soul, the intensity of past experiences, the mission chosen, and the thinness of the veil. The soul remembers not because it is curious, but because remembrance serves a purpose in its great journey. In the next section, we will journey even deeper. We will explore the nuances and contradictions, why some memories emerge spontaneously while others can be awakened through spiritual practice, why not all remembered lives are accurate, and how false memories can intertwine with true ones.
If the first half of our exploration revealed the reasons why some souls remember past lives, the second half leads us into the mysteries, the subtle mechanics, paradoxes, and hidden laws that govern this phenomenon. For remembrance is not always straightforward. It is riddled with nuance, like a tapestry woven from both light and shadow. Let us begin with the spontaneous awakening of memory. Many cases documented across cultures involve children, often before the age of 7, who describe past lives with stunning clarity. They speak of villages, names, and events they could never have learned in their current environment. Why children? Ancient traditions tell us that in early childhood, the veil is thinnest. The soul has not yet fully anchored into the density of the body and mind, and so echoes from its former existence still flow freely. As the child grows, the veil thickens, the material world demands focus, and the memories fade. But not all remembrance is spontaneous. Some awaken it deliberately. Mystics of India, Tibet, and even Greece practiced disciplines designed to pierce the veil. Deep meditation, breathwork, and dream practices were seen as keys to unlocking the continuity of the soul. In Tibet, monks trained to consciously navigate the bardo, the intermediate state between death and rebirth, so that in their next life they could carry awareness forward. In Greece, initiates of the Orphic mysteries carried golden tablets inscribed with instructions for remembering who they were when they crossed into the afterlife. The message was clear. Memory is not just a passive accident, but a skill that can be cultivated. Yet here lies a profound paradox. Not all remembered lives are true. Just as the ocean reflects the sky with both clarity and distortion, so too does the subconscious reflect fragments of the soul's journey mixed with symbols, archetypes, and imagination. This is why some memories may appear vivid, but are later proven inaccurate. Are these falsehoods, or are they symbolic truths? Esoteric traditions suggest both. Sometimes the soul recalls directly. Other times it speaks in myth, dream, or metaphor, encoding the lesson rather than the literal story. For example, one might recall being a warrior on a battlefield, not because they literally were, but because the soul carries the vibration of conflict and courage from lifetimes where struggle was central. This raises a deeper question.
What is the purpose of remembrance? If not all memories are literal, why does the soul awaken them at all? The answer is that memory is not meant to entertain, it is meant to teach. Whether a past life recollection is historical fact or symbolic allegory, its purpose is to illuminate the soul's present challenges. The soul does not whisper, "Remember who you were," for vanity's sake, but rather, "Remember what you learned and why you are here now." Another nuance is that memory is not always complete. Just as a person might recall fragments of a dream, so too are past lives remembered in flashes, fragments, and symbols. A scent may trigger an entire scene. A face may awaken an overwhelming sense of recognition. These glimpses are not accidents. They're like sparks from a hidden fire. Reminders that the soul's continuity is real, even if the details remain veiled. Science, too, has brushed against this mystery. Studies of past life regression, where individuals under hypnosis recall other lifetimes, have revealed consistent themes. Skeptics argue these are fantasies, yet the consistency across cultures, and even verifiable details in some cases, suggest otherwise. Modern esoteric thinkers suggest that memory does not reside in the brain, but in the field, a subtle energetic layer that interpenetrates reality. Just as a radio can tune into different frequencies, so the soul can tune into the frequency of its other incarnations. But why, then, do most souls not remember at all? The answer lies in balance. If all souls carried full awareness of their infinite lives, the weight of memory would overwhelm them. Imagine trying to live one life while also remembering hundreds of spouses, thousands of joys and sorrows, countless deaths. The human psyche would collapse under the enormity. Forgetfulness, then, is not punishment, but mercy. It allows the soul to focus, to immerse itself fully in the present lesson without distraction. But not all remembrance is unnecessary. They come as necessities. The soul remembers when it is ready to heal. For example, a person plagued by irrational fears may, through regression, recall a traumatic death in a previous life. The memory itself becomes the medicine, releasing the fear's grip. Likewise, someone who feels a deep, inexplicable bond with another may awaken to the truth that they have journeyed together before. Memory, then, is the soul's way of saying, "Look deeper. There is more to this than you think." One final paradox remains. Some esoteric traditions teach that even memory itself is ultimately illusory. In the highest states of realization, the soul transcends the cycle of birth and death, and the question of past lives dissolves. There is only the eternal present, the soul experiencing itself in infinite forms. From this vantage point, to cling to past life identity is to miss the greater truth. You are not simply a sequence of lives, but the timeless awareness in which all lives arise. Thus the mystery unfolds in layers. Past life memory is both real and symbolic, gift and burden, blessing and test. It emerges when the soul is ripe, when healing is required, or when the veil is thin. But it also reminds us of a greater truth, that the soul's continuity is eternal, and that the fragments we glimpse are only windows into a far vaster horizon. In the next section, we will shift from theory to practice. If remembrance is possible, how can one consciously cultivate it? What exercises, meditations, or daily habits can thin the veil and awaken the echoes of the soul's long journey? And more importantly, how can we use these insights for real transformation in this life?
Knowing that some souls remember their past lives is fascinating. But the true value lies not in the mystery itself, it lies in what we can do with this knowledge. If remembrance is a gateway to self-discovery, healing, and transformation, then the natural question becomes, can I access it too? And if so, how can it serve my growth in this life? Let us begin by clarifying something essential. Past life memory is not about curiosity or entertainment. It is not about finding out if you were Cleopatra or a medieval knight. The purpose of remembrance is not to inflate the ego, but to awaken the soul. The memories that come are those that matter to your current journey, those that carry unfinished lessons, unresolved wounds, or gifts waiting to be reclaimed. With this in mind, here are practices and approaches that have been used across traditions to gently lift the veil of forgetfulness. 1. Dream work, the soul's language. Dreams are the most accessible bridge to the unconscious. Before sleep, set a clear intention. If there is a memory I need to see, let it come to me in dreams. Keep a journal by your bed. Often, past life fragments emerge as vivid, unfamiliar places or identities in dreams. Pay attention to repeated symbols, especially those that do not belong to your current life. A medieval castle, an ancient ritual, or a battlefield may not be fantasy. They may be memory clothed in dream symbols. 2. Meditation and inner silence. In deep stillness, the mind becomes like a clear lake, reflecting the hidden patterns of the soul. Specific meditations, such as focusing on the question, "Who am I?" or visualizing oneself walking backward in time, can trigger flashes of remembrance. Tibetan monks practice Poa and Bardo meditations to consciously navigate lifetimes. Even simple breath-focused meditation, practiced daily, weakens the veil and makes the soul's voice clearer. 3. Past life regression. Guided regression, often performed by trained hypnotherapists, allows the conscious mind to relax while the subconscious surfaces hidden memories. Many people report powerful emotional experiences, some leading to healing of long-standing fears or physical ailments. While skeptics dismiss this as imagination, what matters is not whether the memory is literal, but whether it brings transformation. If a memory of drowning heals a fear of water, the memory has served its purpose. 4. Emotional resonance. Pay attention to what stirs your soul most deeply. Have you ever felt unexplainable love for a culture, a time period, or a skill? These resonances may be echoes of lifetimes where those experiences were central. The urge to paint, the instant ability to play an instrument, or the immediate recognition of a foreign language are signs of remembrance through talent. By following these resonances, you may uncover fragments of your past woven into your present. 5. Sacred sites and power places. Many souls awaken memory when they stand on ancient ground. Visiting temples, ruins, or natural landscapes can trigger a flood of recognition. Countless travelers have described tears streaming down their faces at sacred sites, feeling as though they had come home. If you feel drawn inexplicably to a place, honor the call. It may be your soul guiding you back to where its story left off. 6. The mirror of relationships. Past life memory often hides within the dynamics of human connection. The people who trigger you the most, whether through love, conflict, or intensity, are often souls you have met before. Pay attention to instant connections and instant dislikes. Journaling about these relationships can unlock patterns that extend beyond this life. By asking, "What lesson is my soul trying to learn through this person?" you move from blind reaction to conscious remembrance. 7. Ritual and intention. Esoteric traditions teach that ritual is a way of signaling the subconscious. Simple acts, lighting a candle, sitting in silence, invoking guidance, create space for remembrance to emerge. One ancient Hermetic exercise was to gaze into a bowl of water or a polished mirror until images arose. Whether real or symbolic, the visions that emerge reveal what the soul wishes you to know. Practical benefits of remembrance. Why pursue these practices at all? Because remembrance brings profound gifts. Healing of trauma. By uncovering the root of irrational fears, phobias, or emotional wounds, you release their grip. Rediscovery of gifts. Talents, wisdom, and skills carried across lifetimes can be reclaimed, accelerating growth. Clarity of purpose. Remembering why you chose this life clarifies your mission, giving you direction and strength. Compassion for others. Knowing that everyone has lived countless lives dissolves judgment. Your enemy today may have been your ally yesterday. Freedom from fear of death. Remembrance reveals continuity. Death is no longer an ending, but a doorway, one you have passed through many times. Common challenges. Of course, the path of remembrance is not without obstacles. Ego attachment. Some become obsessed with being someone important in the past. This is a trap. True remembrance is about lessons, not titles. Overwhelm. Past life memories can bring sorrow or guilt. Move slowly. Integrate through journaling, therapy, or spiritual guidance. Doubt. The mind will ask, what if this is imagination? That is natural. Instead of chasing certainty, ask, does this memory serve my healing and growth? Integrating remembrance into daily life. Perhaps the most important step is integration. It is not enough to see visions of another time. The lesson must be applied here and now. If you recall a lifetime of greed, practice generosity. If you recall a lifetime of fear, practice courage. Remembrance without action is mere curiosity. Remembrance with action is wisdom. In truth, the veil between lifetimes is thinner than we think. Most of us carry fragments already, in our instincts, our longings, our deepest fears. The techniques described above are not about creating memories, but about listening to what is already whispering inside. By practicing awareness, intention, and humility, you open yourself to the continuity of your own being. And as these memories surface, they are not just stories of who you were, they are keys unlocking who you are meant to become. In the conclusion, we will bring all of these threads together, summarizing the mystery of remembrance and leaving you with a final, profound reflection that may forever shift the way you see yourself.
Why do some souls remember their past lives while others remain in forgetfulness? Throughout this journey, we have uncovered layers of wisdom. The protective veil of forgetfulness, the moments when memory pierces through, and the profound purposes such remembrance serves. What at first seems like a mystery of chance is, in truth, a carefully orchestrated dance of the soul. Each memory or forgetting aligned with the lessons we are meant to learn. Think of life as a vast library. Each incarnation is a single book on the shelf. Most of us, when reborn, are given only one book to read, the current volume. To remember every book at once would be overwhelming. But sometimes the soul is handed 2, 3, or more because its growth requires it. These glimpses remind us that the story is far bigger than the chapter we are reading now. We have seen how ancient traditions, from India to Greece, from Egypt to Hermetic teachings, recognize this mystery. Some souls forget in order to immerse themselves fully in the play of life. Others remember in order to heal, to teach, or to fulfill unfinished vows. Remembrance is not reward or punishment, it is alignment. When the soul is ripe, the fruit of memory falls. We have also seen how remembrance is not always literal. Sometimes it comes as vivid recollection, other times as symbol, dream, or resonance. What matters is not whether you can prove the details, but whether the memory brings growth. If a dream of drowning heals your fear of water, then the soul has achieved its purpose. If a recognition of a loved one deepens compassion, then remembrance has already served its higher aim. And so, what does this mean for you? Whether or not you consciously remember your past lives, you already carry them. They are in your instincts, your talents, your fears, your longings. The veil may hide the details, but the essence flows through every heartbeat.
You are the sum of countless lifetimes, distilled into this present moment. If you wish to remember, the path is open. Through meditation, dream work, ritual, or simple awareness of the signs that surround you. But even if remembrance never comes in visions or words, know this. Every challenge you face, every love you hold, every lesson you struggle with, is already the continuation of a much greater journey. Nothing is random. Nothing is wasted. The ultimate teaching is this. You are more than this single life. You are the traveler, not the journey. The actor, not the costume. Past life memory is simply one way of glimpsing the vastness of your being. But even beyond remembrance lies a higher truth, that you are not bound to the cycle forever. There comes a point where the soul transcends memory and forgetfulness alike, awakening to the eternal presence that has been there all along. So, whether you remember or not, the invitation is the same. Live this life fully. Meet its lessons with courage, its relationships with compassion, and its challenges with wisdom. Because in doing so, you honor not only this chapter, but all the chapters that came before and all the ones still to come. And perhaps, just perhaps, as you walk this path, you will feel a whisper rising from within, a song of recognition, a spark of remembrance, a knowing that you have walked these roads before. Not to cling to the past, but to walk more wisely into the future. Because the truth is, the soul never forgets. It only waits for the moment you are ready to remember.